Hey guys, welcome back to Sierra Rose Typology. I have a lovely and highly esteemed guest, Ash Rose, here with me today. Do you want to do a little intro?
Hi, I'm Ash Rose, and I've known Sierra Rose for quite a few years now. I don't know, 4 or 5 years maybe.
Oh yeah, at
And
least.
yeah, so I'm also a certified cognitive type photologist, and I do Enneagram stuff just as a hobby. Um, so yeah, that's basically all I can think of that's relevant.
Yeah. Well, I think of you as like a prototypist extraordinaire because
Ah,
yeah, you are. You've actually introduced me to a lot of stuff, kind of pointed me in the right direction with Enneagram, got
cool.
me into the EU universe, which has been fun and helpful. And
Awesome.
you've been in like the typology sphere for quite a while, right?
Yeah, since about 2015, I guess, something like that.
And you started with socionics.
Well, kind of. I actually just in general started out with visual typing. I didn't really, wasn't really interested in MBTI that much. I thought it was kind of just silly until I found some Tumblr that was talking about, and it wasn't cognitive type, it wasn't socionics, it was just some random thing. And they were talking about how eye movements can predict cognitive functions. And like basically they were using MBTI nomenclature. And so I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And that made me realize that, I don't know, I think maybe because I was in an artist and I went to art school and I've just always been very visual. So that led me down the rabbit hole of finding first socionics because they had a funny old website about their visual typing methodology. And then that led me eventually down, well, then I got into the Facebook groups, and that's where I met someone who got me into cognitive type because they're like, "Oh, you like visual typing? You'll love cognitive type." And I was like, "Wow, this is so much better." And then that led me down the rabbit hole of Enneagram. I found Catherine Faber, who was using visual signals, and that intrigued me. And then I got introduced to Enneagrammer who were using visual signals, and so on. So
Mhm.
there's always been basically that umbrella of I just like visual typing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's great. And I think it kind of gets to a little bit that you do have SE. Um, you are typed as a TISE, and is that like TISE and FE integrated for you?
Yes, I force integrated FE a few years ago when we were doing a modulation experiment. And
Yeah.
so it stuck. It's still here. That was like, I don't know, 3 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
And it worked. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. And do you want to talk about your type in the Enneagram? Like how you type yourself?
Yeah. So it's 9 wing 8, 9 5 3. So with a nine, oh, sorry, with an 8 4, what, 8 4 2 overlay. Yeah. So 2 4 8 overlay and SXSO.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the real deal, people. She's helped me tremendously in
You're
understanding
sweet.
the
Oh,
intro.
thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I always
Yeah.
defer to you because you've got all that competency going on. That's really
Well, I've been
fabulous.
impressed with how these videos are just like really great, and it seems like you caught on to the stuff really well. So yeah, it's impressive.
Oh, thank you. And I guess speaking of that, you watched the Ramirez typing,
Mhm.
and kind of oddly enough, you said that Ramirez reminded you of this model. And
Yes.
do you want to explain that?
Well, yeah, so I was really surprised when you were saying you guys were coming to like a 9 7, I think 4. And I was thinking in my head, because, or sorry, 7 was right. 7 9 4. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I never really knew much about Ramirez. I just knew that he was like this hedonistic type of like very smiley, charming, hedonistic type of killer and not so stereotypical, really. So that just made me think probably he's a 7. And I did not expect 9 because, I heard about all the brutality that went into those. But then I was watching him like, you know what? Yeah, he actually does really seem like that 7 9. STEM. And then I'm thinking, like who else does this like Jordan Barrett? Yeah, he's also, I think, probably very similar, but obviously, like I think Jordan Barrett would be very good at playing Ramirez in a movie. And I think he could channel that brutality and that intenseness, like
Hmm.
ferocity, but he's obviously not his default. So I was like, well, I wonder like let's see like what how can we branch out the major differences here? Like what's going on?
Yeah, because they are the same type in CT. They're both
Mhm.
SETIs. Um, and I'm guessing for Jordan here, he seems like a standard development to me, just very SE, like loose and a little
There
peak.
may be like some FE integration, maybe in some other videos or some moments in time, but I think most of these I'm just seeing a standard, especially when he's younger. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm guessing you probably haven't looked at Ramirez, but his
Well, no, I did, and just in mainly in the video that you made, and just guessing. I would also guess maybe standard, maybe PI. I don't know. What do you think? No, not PI.
yeah, I got locked in on the Enneagram stuff, so I wasn't looking at all at his voltology, but I would guess standard development just because
Yeah.
it was so unstructured, like SE chaos.
Hmm.
Which
I
he
do. He did look really spacey in some moments, but not in a fixed gaze, zoned out PI way. Now that I think about it, and I think that spaciness could be nine. It's easy to confuse nine and that PI zoned out fixed gaze thing, especially NI think, but
Mhm.
there is a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. The overlap between like the nine spaciness and just being kind of like inert with PI. Um, but anyways, we can start the video, and if you want me to pause it at any point,
Mhm.
just give me a heads up, just holler.
Cool.
What they have? I mean, I look. I will take one thing, and it's the truth. I wouldn't say I'm a global superstar at all, but yeah, in the rankings, I am the highest paid. That is correct.
Jordan
And
Barrett
I've had the
is.
chance to. You got to meet my beautiful friends and some of the people.
So I guess we should kind of introduce this guy. I didn't know
Yeah.
who he was, but I guess he's like the male supermodel right now.
Yeah, so I mean, I watched this interview the other day and they said that he's the highest paid model. I didn't know that. That's cool. Good for him. I do know that he's currently quite memed a lot from the looks maxing community, which is like blown up lately. And there are rumors that he used to be in the looks maxing communities back in like the 2010s. However, I don't know how true that is. Like it could have been anybody just like making like pretending it's him. But he wasn't so famous back then, so it's possible maybe. And he yeah, so he's like their icon. And the funny this interview I thought was hilarious because he doesn't usually do interviews. We actually had a really hard time finding a lot of interviews of him. And he agreed to do this one because he's friends with this psychologist, I think he is, or something. And he appreciates the work that he's doing for mental illness on his YouTube channel. And they're going to talk about Jared. The point is that they're trying to talk about Jordan Barrett's struggles with mental illness. And then like they're just so opposite. It's just so funny to see them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's enough for now. What
Okay.
do you think? You're good.
Yeah, I thought like the contrast here between him just being like a carefree seven wing six, and his friend is like obviously a six. And the
Yeah.
friend like keeps trying to bring it back to like, we have anxiety. And he's just like, yeah, sometimes I get anxious.
Right. Yeah, let's just watch and then we can comment on what we see. But like what we just saw just there, I thought was just um yeah, I didn't really actually see much. Let's just keep watching.
Sure.
That I've grown up with over the years. And thankfully from that age and earning that, I've been able to afford to buy some homes down in Queensland, down in Byron.
So Jordan Barrett is
So I'll take that one.
an
Thank you, Jamer.
amazing, lovely human, very kind human. But I think the perception of who you are is just this hot guy, and people don't really know who he is when he's not modeling.
You make me laugh.
Well,
I do love you.
often models are dismissed. We've had this conversation as just pretty faces, right? Or pretty eyes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you and your eyes are just like piercing through me. And so,
Oh,
you know,
you've got some good lighting in here. It seems like you've been on enough sets yourself.
right. So Jordan Barrett, you don't do
Okay, stop.
podcasts. You've not done many.
He's doing a lot of like 6 humble stuff here at first. So I was thinking, oh, is this going to be a 6? You know, so that was interesting. And it's yeah, I think you already spoiled it. We were leaning 7 wing 6 for him, and uh let's see why. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I said initially when I was watching this, I was thinking he could be like a hidden spring Bermuda.
Yeah.
Um, but I think like we came to the conclusion that he's like the smoothest type of 7, like the least jarring. Should we give away what we think for his strides up?
I don't want to yet.
Okay, okay.
I want to
So
reveal them like slowly, like a mystery.
sure, okay, okay.
You kind of avoid them, I think, because it's not your natural comfort zone.
It's definitely not my natural comfort zone. That is for sure. That's one thing you learn over those 10 years of knowing me. Especially since I guess when I was 14, we probably met when I was 13 years old. I think we did meet when I was literally 13. And
Yeah.
it was like I was 13 years old and now I'm almost 20. I'm 28 now.
Yeah.
Shit, that sounds fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit, I've
All right,
been
can we pause?
A long time.
All right, so it's this guy, he's known since he was 13. He didn't get discovered until he was 14 by a model agency. And so he knows this guy since before he was famous. And he apparently they've been friends ever since. And there's something like also interesting about him that we could talk about later, but he's so people-y. He's so like kind and giving and caring to his friends. And that's like if you look at the comments in this video, they're like, man, this guy's really doing some charity here. Like, but yeah. And also, I just want to touch on the SCTI thing in cognitive type. There's what's it called? The shade, the heartthrob shade. Like he seems like structurally very much like the heartthrob shade, which is one layer, and then we can like figure out what's going on with him emotionally with Enneagram. So
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of that, like often these SETI types are usually the most visually attractive, like the Chads of CT. And also like the chiseled face, very symmetrical. Being symmetrical corresponds with being measured in CT, like FE and TI, which he would have as a beta. And then like the really taut orbitals, they're in the mogging or the looks maxing community, they're calling it hunter's eyes. So he's got both. He's very chiseled, he's very symmetrical. And I think there's some overlaps with Enneagram with like the 9-wing 1 model face where they're just like a beautiful object to be observed. And and then just 3 in Heart Center where my personal observation, my little hot take is like the more hexad you have in your type, the kind of the more goofy your face can look. Um, where like Bermudas to me tend to have faces that are very attractive, but almost like nothing is really jumping out. There's no sharp edges, there's nothing like offensive or jarring about them. Um, so him being like, we think he's a core hexad type, we think he's a 7, but the rest of his tab, which we will slowly reveal, explains, I think, why he's so smooth as a core 7.
right, like the 7, like the frustration core hexady. There's like the 7 wing 8 bratty and like 7 wing 6 kind of just more like verb like entertainer. Yeah, I have a lot I can actually talk about with what you just mentioned because I got really interested in this whole idea, like, can we actually correlate like symmetrical faces with measuredness? Or, I ended up going into some looks maxing communities for research for work. And I did notice that there, like I was joining in on these like competitions, and I did notice that there were very strong, like there were all kinds of types in those communities, and all kinds of people with asymmetries, like all different types. So they have problems like betas can get cooked too, SETIs can be cooked too, but they were the ones that were like getting the most progress, like staying the most consistent and actually winning these competitions were usually the betas. And I think that there's a lot of natural inclination. Like TI is very obsessed with asymmetry, or I'm sorry, very obsessed with symmetry, and they notice asymmetries. And so they're also like the SE thing, like bodily awareness, like how can I manipulate my body to like achieve these like ideal symmetry. And so that's when you get like the people who are trying to do stuff with the structure, like their skeletal structure. Now the deltas got interested, and like the gammas and like the other types were interested, but they just either lost interest, they didn't have the drive to continue with it as hardcore as like the betas, especially if they have a 3-fix. And there are, again, those rumors, like there are videos you can find of people like revealing Jordan Barrett's looks maxing, like his techniques or whatever. He just says like he just works out and that's it. But um the interesting thing is that I don't think that like measuredness can lead to symmetry, because muscle symmetry, like that's kind of how measuredness is. It's symmetrical in the way that it moves, and that's going to develop the face a certain way. But I do know that there are measured people with asymmetries. It does happen, but they are more like likely to spot it and try to do something about it, especially like the FBTI is like driven to self-development and all that.
Mhm.
Not that, you know, the TEFIs won't do it either, but there's just something more like natural about the FBTI's inclination to go that way. What do
Yeah,
you think?
and yeah, I agree and take it to extremes. Like I
Yeah.
know your husband Callan has found a lot of like extreme athletes, SATIs, like with MMA fighting. Like they want to completely immerse themselves with the SE, like the immersive experience, and then also TI, which is like very exacting and perfecting, and they can become masters of their craft in these domains. And I definitely see the overlap with you would expect to see with looks maxing, where a lot of the most successful ones, like Clavicular, our boy Clavicular, we've speculated on him and determined that he's most likely an SATI as well.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Right. And others that I've, you know, like a lot of the other looks maxers I've looked into, they've all been basically either SCTI or maybe like usually SCTI. It's like
Mhm.
they just love this stuff.
They do. It's kind of like the whole like the bodybuilding thing. I think that's more, it's very FE, but I see a lot more FESIs dominating in that space. Um,
Mm.
and
Oh,
it's interesting that the SETIs have more of a look for aesthetics. Like they're not just trying to like get as big as possible. They're just, it's about the aesthetic. It's about, how do I look? And so they're the best at it. And I was thinking his friend here looks Delta.
yeah.
Um, sadly,
Yeah.
sadly for us Deltas. But Deltas I've noticed tend to be more focused on mental health.
Yes.
Like a lot less so on like how can I improve my appearance so much as like how can I be more happy and I like FI be authentic to myself
Exactly.
versus him
Yeah.
he's just naturally gorgeous, right?
Right. Yeah. He got the genetics, and he probably works at it. But yeah, I wanted to also like, what's the other side of that? The FITE people, they tend to be very much about like, I'm just going to accept myself how I am, my flaws and all. And then how can I get everyone else to accept me too? Like, how can we adjust the world to be accepting of our differences? And, you know, that's also a great approach too, you know, but it's just interesting, like even in these looks maxing communities, how often I would see the FIT, that the candid people bring that up? Like, can we just be accepting? Or I listen to my body. I give, like, I let myself, guide my, my inner, my inner essence guides me through this. It's interesting. It was really interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, and I guess you could even say, let me know what you think, but I think there's some correlation between TI, FE measured people and like like traditional three-ish heart themes where because they're measured, they're more naturally connected to those external metrics of success.
Yeah.
Where candid people, the FITE users, are more likely to get into like weird subcultures, like, furry dom or
Hmm.
like rebellious, like this is me and I don't care if it's ugly or repulsive. I'm not that measured people, can't do that as well.
Right.
But you kind of see what I'm going with there.
Yeah. It's just common tendencies for sure. And the measure, or sorry, the candid people. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Yeah, the candid people are the ugly ones.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not that they're, yeah, I don't think they're ugly even. There's like plenty of beautiful examples that we have like on our database, like beautiful deltas, whatever. But yeah, there's just definitely almost, oh, I remember what I was gonna say. But yeah, I think Enneagram can influence this too. Like, so like if a measured person has a 4 fixed, like you can see a lot more of, there's that awareness of those objective standards of beauty or whatever, but they're like subverting it, or they're purposely trying to uglify themselves.
Mhm.
I don't know if you typed Johnny Depp. Did you think he had a 4 fix or no? I can't remember.
I believe we did. That was like, oh gosh, like a year ago.
Yeah,
Um,
so that's an example. He's a TISC who, like, he would get these props from movies. Like he got the ugly teeth from Ed Wood, and he
mhm.
would wear them to his club. He would wear them everywhere because he was like, I just love that these make me ugly. It's like I just love this. Like, so there's like an opposite thing that happens sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, very,
Your
very
fixes.
true. And like I remember we were all speculating on Dolores O'Riordan of the Cranberries, and we were thinking that she was most likely measured, but
Oh,
had
really? Yeah, maybe. I can't remember now.
yeah, but had four in her stack. And
Oh,
there is kind of like this rebel thing, like a little bit of like a Joan Jett kind of thing. I don't know if Joan Jett has a four fix, but
I don't remember.
I would probably lean that way.
Yeah.
But it is like I'm here, like F you. I don't care if I'm
Hmm.
attractive to you. Um, and it can take on like this kind of faux, like I feel like there's a lot of overlap with four fixed and candidness,
Hmm.
where like it's kind of sad. It's not attachment. It's very self-referencing. Um, do you have any thoughts on that, Ash?
Yeah, I think like theoretically, or like in theory, there's some overlap between the ideas. However, we still find measured people who are 4 fixed, and we still find, candid people who are 3 fixed. And it's interesting to see how that plays out, like compare, there's still a difference.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and I think this is a good example because Dolores O'Riordan, it's like you would be like right away I'm thinking, really? She's measured? Yeah. So it's like what it does, I have this other thing. Oh man, we're like forgetting Jordan Barrett exists
It's
right now.
okay. I love it.
I, I have this other kind of theory where there's when everything aligns the way that you would expect, you get a very clear, easy to read person. But then when the layers start to shift, you get somebody who gets really muddied. And that's when you get those complex people. And those are those people who are like measured and 4 fixed, like you're not sure what you're looking at. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, the interplay and what was the name of that guy from the band you like? Gosh, blanking. We were originally gonna tag that one guy,
Carlos D from Interpol.
Carlos D, and you had him as an FESI, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna add him to the database one of these days.
Okay, so this will just be like a little preview. Sorry for giving it away.
Oh no, it's
But I'm like, he looks a lot to me visually like, gosh, what's his name? I'm just blanking on everything today.
well, people compare him all the time to um, well, there's Corey Feldman.
Yes,
And
Corey
yeah,
Feldman,
that's him.
who's also in FESI and like
Oh, is he?
extremely, yeah, I typed him a long time ago, extremely quirky
Mhm.
and really Hexaddy. And like this guy, his thing was like he was dressing up like a neo-Nazi on the stage. I mean, he was pulling it off. Like
Yeah,
he, he
I
looked
have a
good.
whole story about that, but we can say that for we can do him next in the next video.
Oh, yeah, okay, so this will just be a teaser, but like this is funny, the difference between MBTI, which
Mhm.
is like kind of like 16 almost like cardboard stereotypes based on like behavior and presentation. This guy is an FESI, but he's not what you would expect if you're, coming from MBTI. Very jarring. But
Mhm.
anyways, maybe we can do him next, our
Yeah,
supermodel.
I have yeah, because I was this fits, but like I was considering he could be a four, either fix or maybe core, which I didn't expect. That was something that because I met him, I met Carlos D like 10, 20 years ago. I don't remember how long ago, a long time ago. And I was not expecting that. I was expecting something a lot lighter. But the more interviews I watched, I was like, oh my goodness, like the FE really clouds that
Mm.
fourness. Yeah, it's really interesting. So
Yeah,
anyway, Jordan, I think, doesn't have that much clouding happening where I think that most likely he's not going to be four fixed. He's quite light. You know what I mean? Like
very,
quite
very, yes,
yeah.
very, very light. And I'll just quick jump to this one short just to get it out of
Yeah.
the way.
In the
The
times when you're
angel.
not feeling so confident,
I'm sorry, Ash, what?
Oh, he looks like this is like his he looks like an angel compared
He
to
is. He's very angelic.
what is it you do to help yourself feel more confident?
I mean, I usually like to get out. I usually like to get fresh air, try and do some nice things for other people. Because I feel like that always pays off.
In the times when you're not feeling,
So the interviewer is asking him, like, what do you do to boost your confidence? And his answer I thought was very informative. Do you have any thoughts on that?
well, I kept wondering about the is there a two fix happening here? Is there like how come he's so peoply if he's a seven? And so yeah, like that keep because the 7-3 stem seems pretty clear to me here visually and just like the 7-3 stem is like the or sorry not 7-3 9-3 the 9-3 stem is like showing up as quite clear to me here because that's like the blank slate model like the template and that's the thing that stands out to me very clearly when I look at his photos and when I look at him and the way he is just talking about himself. Yeah, I'm the best, like I'm the best, I'm the most paid, with like there's a tinge of like this attachment. And so I'm seeing like this, there's attachment, uh there's this model archetype 9-3 stem. Yeah. So, but there's also this peopliness. Like he's all about people. So like I'm wondering where that's coming from.
Hmm.
I'm always saying I've known someone for 5, 10 years, and I'm like, wait a second, you're definitely not 22 anymore, 24 anymore. No. But coming back to Australia,
Sorry, I just got to interject. Um, so I'm gonna have to give it away, but I think that's a very nine thing to have like a very poor awareness of time. Like just recently something happened where I was like, oh yeah, this person contacted me like a year ago and I found it in my messages and it was like 4 years ago. And I was
Oh
like, oh
no.
my gosh, 4 years have passed. So like kind of like you're just kind of like flowing through life and not really super like dialed in with like what month or year it is.
Yeah, that could also be PE too.
Good point. Good point. Just
But there's another, yeah, there is something about him that's like very much like I'm just gonna go with the flow and like, yeah, it's definitely there.
yeah.
it has really like, I think it's been I think these things are important. I am shy of podcasts. I would say, you know, purely because I've never had a publicist, that I've never had a stylist, I've never had these things. So I went on going,
I think that could be points for three fix because he's saying he's shy, but the reason why is because it's like an image thing of like, I've never hired anyone to help me manage my image, so I'm just going to avoid it.
Yep. Competency in the image center. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Way into things. It's just me, it's
And
just
you haven't had media training and you haven't had those things, which blows my mind given the fact that you are at your top of your game and you've worked for these massive labels and fronted campaigns for XYZ, that they don't give
well,
you that guidance as part of the course,
I
part
mean,
of the course.
well, I mean, so when I was predominantly just a model, and when I was scouted at that age, like when I was scouted continuously by those model scouts that came and got me from my hometown, when they run all these stories straight after that, I think in the press, once I got to Sydney, I think it was when I'd start getting all those Daily Mail articles for every move I made. And then, you know, the last thing I wanted to do was talk to anyone in the media. The last thing I wanted to do was think about it, because I
So
didn't know anything I didn't know
impo
anything they were saying. It gave me.
so that seems points for frustration to me. It's just like I don't want to deal with you guys. You guys are, and it's like there's there's like you guys there. So what's interesting is when he also mentioned that when he was 14, like all these people were trying to scout him. Like all these people were like he probably had like three or four, but there were maybe two. But he makes it sound like, yeah, people were just like, oh yeah, everyone wanted my you know, wanted me, but I'm like, I don't want to be tied down. I don't want, but eventually he accepted. And now all these people are like getting on his like nerves because they are, yeah, basically trying to tie him down, pull him down. That's what I got out of it. Like a
Mhm.
seven kind of frustration-y, tying down, like lack of freedom kind of thing.
Yeah, and another interesting point is that he has been represented by so many agencies, just hopping all over the place. So I don't know, the article I looked at, it seemed like there was a lot more, but he's been represented by like Kate Moss, who's a friend of his and kind of like a mentor, but just kind of like the seven thing of keeping your options open. And also when he was scouted, it was in a supermarket and he was attempting to steal matches so he could smoke. So he was
Yep.
like, yeah, he
Bad boy,
got
bad boy.
bad boy, yeah, the SETI bad boy shade, but like a very light version. Like he's not out there like clobbering.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a seven, like that's why like I'm thinking 7 wing 6 because he's not really like a 7 wing 8 unhinged, bratty, like out of control, chaotic type. Like with SCTI, you could easily get that too. He's
Hmm.
actually much more there's more of an attachment and more of an like he's just very good with the people, like the verb. He's very verbose, as we haven't really seen that very much yet. But yeah, he's much more engaging.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. And the fact that he's kind of flirting into like the six-ish headspace of like, yeah, they say I'm the top model, but whatever.
Right. A little humble, like he definitely has the humbleness, yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit more cute, and relatable than like
Yeah.
someone who's seven wing eight.
It's such a strange feeling because it was like they knew more than it was about. They would come up with things in they would be naming people I'm with, my sister. I'm like, I don't have a sister. I walk down the street and suddenly someone's my mother.
Your girlfriend.
Yeah, they write whatever, and I'm like, okay, I just learned to literally block that out at a young age, and they didn't give me any training. I was here at 14 when I met you. The last thing they gave me was training. The first thing they gave me was a night out.
Yeah.
So I guess and that was after set. I was the youngest kid on set. I was the youngest kid working.
I think he's also highlighting some competency stuff here. like whether it's like pro or against competency, there is like the highlighting the competency. Like I didn't receive the media training. I just want to point that out. Like that wouldn't even occur to me. Like who cares, you know?
Right.
But the fact that he's pointing that out, like competency shows up when people are like very aware that they're lacking in it. That's just it's on their radar, basically.
For sure. And yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. And I just picked up on that kind of being like a frustration rant.
Hmm.
It's a soft one, but yeah.
Yeah.
in the industry.
This podcast is about mental health.
Okay. I kind of gathered that while going through your
Mental.
Instagram, and when I watch your podcast, I've actually been a fan of your podcast, and that's why
Kind of, yeah.
when I was speaking with
But we
Like
say,
what's funny is he keeps forgetting that throughout this whole podcast. Like he keeps trailing off into like these la la lands, which is like very 7-9 space, like STEM, just like getting lost in these swirling kind of thing, fantasy almost like you just forget, oh yeah, by the way, we're supposed to talk about mental health. Okay.
yeah, and it's kind of subtle, but I associate it with head types specifically in the 6-7 space of like interrupting because like you get these things popping up in your head and like blah, 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 just like some verbal diarrhea and like a 7 in my life that I know and love is like infamous for nonstop interrupting everyone.
Yeah, that's why, because we were going back and forth between 7 and 9, and I'm like, well, he's kind of steamrolling this guy. Like he's kind of taking charge of this whole conversation. I don't know.
Yeah, there is for sure like a head type tension. Like the 6 here has his own agenda. We're here to talk about our tortured mental health. And he's like 3-ish talking about his career and yeah.
with you, I said, you know what, like I think, I trust you. And you and I, that's why I say, wait, are we recording? Every time I speak to you, I say, is this recording?
Yeah.
And so I'm just talking to a friend and it happens to be getting filmed, but you're very easy to forget that it's being filmed.
Thank you.
And you're very easy to feel like we can just talk very openly. It's not like I'm having to think when I'm speaking to
Thank
you.
you.
So I'm
Thank you.
sorry if I speak too fast.
You don't
know
speak too
how,
fast,
yeah.
but
So he's aware he speaks fast, but also that seems kind of 3-ish, like imagey, like I don't have to be so on guard with you and aware of how I'm coming across. Um, just kind of like that image awareness in like a 3-ish way.
Yeah, totally. Also, like you give me freedom to be myself. Like I can just be like chaotic and wild. You don't tie
Yeah.
me down.
Which is
Uh,
funny because it's that's like his perception, and I feel like that what we project on other people is also really telling. He's projecting, oh, you're a good friend, mate. I can trust you. But this guy really isn't. He's trying to get something very specific out of Jordan. And
yeah,
Jordan's just like, you know, um, for the funny, like the humorous part of it.
so funny.
I know your mind is working at a million miles a minute, and I know what that feels like because I have those things. But I want to set the tone because people are listening to this, and I want them to understand
It's
why that.
serious.
And
True. This is the first time I've actually spoken
And I want
in a way where people will see video, audio, and I'm honestly just having a chat with a friend, and you're kind
Yeah.
of giving out, and trying to help, I guess, understand. And also, I hope what by doing this, it does help some people that have struggled with, strongly. I'm going to say like what took over my head for a while was anxiety. And when you say moving too fast, it's like my life has been so fast paced, and right now I feel like I'm a child again because I feel like I've returned to a place of being able to be, just completely, my head is not in a place where it was on fight and flight mode. And I felt like I was permanently on that, whether it was traveling 3 times a week, whether it was maintaining like, for a friendship or relationship while traveling, while navigating, like the finances of everything in my life and everything around me by constantly every day would never end, especially with time zones. Since I'm 13, I've been dealing with a South Korean time zone. I've been dealing with New York and London and
Okay, that's
Paris.
probably a good place to stop. Yeah, so like he's blah 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 blah, like he just doesn't stop. And so that was why I was thinking seven over nine, just like blah 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 blah, like constantly on and on point, not in a trailing like stuttery kind of whatever kind of way. It's very controlled and directed, and but he also seems like he's able to keep it entertaining for himself and for others, and engaging and all that. So yeah, but yeah, I'm still getting like tastes of that six attachment and the two kind of people-y thing, but it's not as strong as the others. Like, yeah, it's just like subtle. So we were thinking like three wing two, probably, and
Mhm.
then of course seven wing six, and then maybe probably nine wing one, but we can talk about that more later. And then that would make him have like a triple super ego overlay, which would be which would help explain all that. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like, um, he's very friendly, he's very light. And when I was looking at some of his Instagram stuff, and to be fair, like, I don't know how much he himself is doing this anymore. You said it used to be a little
Right.
bit different back in the day, but like this reminded me of some stuff with like, the trifixes, some things that Joseph from Enneagrammer said of the DJ, the 379 tribe being just the sax, like
The naked.
body. Yeah, the naked, the sax, like
Yep.
bodies are bodies. Like let my beautiful body hang out. Who cares? I think that's Kate Moss too. Like him and Kate Moss are just hanging out. And she might be a DJ, like a 911 DJ. They're just
And when
hanging out naked, no shame.
yeah, his whole Instagram used to be like this. I started following him back in 2000, I don't know, 18 or something. And back then it seemed like he was the one, it seemed like it was more his sort of like it was a lot of selfie type videos, like it didn't look so polished, and probably like some management is controlling this now. So back then it
Mhm.
seemed like it was him like with his camera doing this, more like that, right? And it was a lot of this naked like party time, hanging with hot girls, usually models, and yeah, just naked and like under a waterfall or some like fun adventure somewhere all the time every day. And then like sprinkled in like some like weird little art videos. And I was like, it just like, man, this guy seems to have a great life.
Yeah, yeah, he does. Like, and I think this is really the ideal career for a DJ.
Yeah.
And like he's just having fun, like very, very casual. And like he mentions anxiety, but seven is a head type and it's dealing with orientation with the world, and all the head types are relating to anxiety in some way. And I mean,
Yes.
like I'm sure his jet set lifestyle from an extremely early age, just like thrown into the chaos of traveling all around, working probably from sun up to sundown. Who wouldn't get overwhelmed and have some anxiety?
Yeah, good point. And I think that the way like all head types are dealing with their anxiety, people usually associate anxiety with six because they're the most outspoken and vocal about it because they're reactive. The reactivity is very much about I'm going to vocalize this bad thing, and in the head center, that's going to be like whatever is scaring me, whatever. Like they're very honest. Uh, Reactivity is all about authenticity, being honest, and calling out whatever it is that is the bad. And so they are the most vocal about it. While sevens, the way they deal with their anxiety is just by never stopping and just always having some fun, positive thing as their positive types to take their mind off of it. And throughout all of this, when he's not sitting down and having a serious conversation about mental illness with someone, usually he's always talking about how fun everything is. He like says fun like 8 times, and he always talks about how he's just go 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 go, can't stop for a second. Somebody had to, there's another interview, maybe we won't get to that, so I'll just say it, that they say that he's going to, or they told him that he just needs to take a breath, breathe, slow down, slower is better, and that helped him like manage his anxiety, or like make him less fidgety, because he like fidgets, he cannot be alone. So yeah, that all led to like, wow, this sounds super seven to me.
Mhm. Yeah, and this is funny, like that I'm assuming he chose to put on his Instagram, take your pleasure seriously.
Yeah.
It's a very seven, it's very DJ, it's like unapologetic. And it seems like he doesn't really take anything too seriously except for like his fun lifestyle. Like he's just a casual guy. And like he smokes and he his tattoos are crazy. Like I think it'd be a good time to interject. Like
Yeah.
this one, because I think tattoos really tell you a lot. And it says like here like 0% interest. Like that's so seven to me. Like this is boring.
Yep.
And then Psycho, like why would you tattoo that on your body, Jordan? I don't know.
Well, it's very, I think it's kind of a hexaddy thing to do. It's
hmm
definitely not a superego thing to do. I can't imagine a six doing that like so much. And also, I think I see social in these tattoos. They're but subtle, like small, because of just like a blatant sign, like a sign or an icon or something. It's just it's reading social. I do think he's probably self-pressed social because how he tells the stories. He's just very much like this happened, this happened, this happened, and it's just like he talks about how he needs to have like comfortable clothes, and that's all he really cares about with that. And he has access to any style, any clothes he wants, but he just looks very like comfortable, casual, and there's not anything that points to like contraflow. It's just very light and sunny and nothing jarring or backwards in any way. So that's what I was
hmm
thinking. That
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And like, the tattoos, like themselves, they seem like kind of random and spur of the moment. Like there isn't necessarily like a deeper meaning, which I might associate with like like reactive types or even like nine wing ones like to get like little dainty kind of like symbolic tattoos, but his
yeah.
just like it's just like random seven stuff.
Yeah, it looks like he just sat there with a needle and ink one day and just did that to himself, like just
Right.
spontaneous.
Right, like he was just like little bro was just bored or something. Oh gosh. Um, but anyways, yeah, all like interesting points for his type.
There's
And
a very interesting part that in this video, and I don't know if you can skip to it. Maybe we can get to that part in the video where he talks about drugs. It's funny. It might
sure,
be there might be a
wonder,
timestamp, probably.
yeah.
No, it's probably more towards the like maybe you could try the just poking like going through and looking at the middle of it maybe.
Most replayed, so maybe it's juicy.
Used to be on set not for money or love. And then unless the right designer calls me, it's love, 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 and I'm there. And then I was in Nepal. I climbed up to Mount Everest. I spent 20.
So I don't know what he's talking about there, but it's very effusive, like to influence, like love, love, love. I'm there.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. And now he's talking about his like adventures on Mount Everest and yeah.
5 days almost on that journey, 17 days climbing.
Wow.
Uh,
You got
so
to the top.
I got to Mount Tissé base. Mount Tissé, if I say that right, Mount Tissé. It's called Island Peak as well. I think if I
And then
get,
no one gives a shit if you're a model or if you've how much money you got to
except I did get stopped by a bunch of people calling me Mog, 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 Mog. And I'm like, what the fuck is Mog? I was like, what is Mog? You've seen these comments, I'm a Mog. So I stopped social media. I didn't have my phone. I never had TikTok. I don't, I had Instagram. Was I not? I didn't even have my account. Everything was logged out of my phone. All the apps are off. And I became this face of a trend that is called Mog King and Looks Magazine, and it has 2.7 billion trending views, and I'm the fucking face of this trend. And I didn't know what it was. I thought I was going schizophrenic at that point.
What is it?
It's basically where now there's these kids online. If
Sorry, I'm
you
ignorant.
have to look this up. Like Twitter, I think banned it because it was unhealthy. Because these kids hammering to get their jaw stronger. Mogging means, I guess, you're better looking than the person next to you. And looks maxing is this trend as well. There was like a 1.7 billion. While I've got no phone, I have no idea what this is. And I'm getting called mocking by people. And I'm like, what is going on? And I'm like, hang on a second, like, am I going crazy? I literally thought I was going crazy because I didn't know what the trend was for another 4 weeks. I didn't know what it was. TikTok's not my thing, it's just another confusing app. But
So I wonder if there's like a case to be made that, just tech sad, like he's not on social media, he doesn't really know what's going on. Like I feel like sixes, especially with ESO, would be much more like everyone knows what mogging is now. But when it started out and people are like making him this unwitting icon for mogging, and he's like, what are you guys talking about? Because he's so unplugged, he's just like out there having his little adventures.
Yeah, he doesn't seem attached in the headspace. Like he seems very much just doing his own crazy wild adventures.
Hmm.
And I thought that was so funny because, and then if you read the comments, this is like off topic, but yeah, if you read the comments, people are like, he's totally mogging the guy next to him. And I'm like, oh, poor guy. Like he's,
Right. I mean, who isn't getting mocked?
yeah, like,
What
uh,
are you gonna do? I mean, we can look up like what did he look like when he first started? Because I would assume it was just good genetics, and like of course he was a kid, he was gonna go through puberty and his jaw was gonna get more defined, but he
right.
just like he has that kind of like bee stung, um pouty, just like very classically beautiful, like of course he's got grounded eye tension, what they're calling the Mager eyes.
Oh,
um
that was something I forgot to mention. We in that looks maxing community I was in, we were like learning how to do like how to get SCIs, like how to get uh hunter eyes. And I realized that you get them basically just by being out in the sun. Because like when you're squinting, you get like your muscles will like get that fierce look when from squinting all the time. And if you're inside all the time in the dark, like you don't like your those the muscles will get weak and they'll start to droop here. And I was
mhm.
like, oh, so like, yeah, sensors, they go out and like that's the stereotype in MBTI, the sensors are outside, right? But yeah, that's it's true.
Yeah,
And yeah, this guy spends all his time outside. But yeah, I agree. I think it's all natural. I think he just like probably just loses, like he probably does whatever he needs to do to get skinny and lose the fat in the face, and it gets really gaunt sometimes.
yeah, I know at one point he was like training for a marathon and he dropped a lot of body fat and his face got a little bit gaunt, and everyone's like going to these extremes, like he had, is it buccal fat
He could
removal
have.
or buccal to get like those really popping cheekbones. I'm like his face has just changed with time. As I've noticed that sometimes the PATIs can have really round baby faces, and then with time they can get more hollow for whatever reason. But like I'm like JE types especially tend to be more like sharp and angular. Of course that's not like a rule by any means, but like J or judgment in CT is rigid and kind of sharp and angular, kind of like Enneagram 1-ish. And P is like perceiving, especially PE, they tend to be more soft and childlike. And there is that whole thing with like the 9-7 stem and being PE and having like a Peter Pan thing, never really growing up. And I think he has that theme that he's seeing life as an adventure and he's excited about the opportunities. But also like he still looks super, super young to me.
Yeah.
Have
Well,
you
yeah,
ever
there were some times when he got too skinny and he looked really haggard, in my opinion, but it seems better now. But I agree. I think, and also there's muscles that candid people actually use more than measured people that cause the face to look plump here. And then if they are unused, underused, which they usually are in measured people, that's where they get like the gauntness here. So your PETI observation is like, I think spot on, especially in that type for some reason. They get really like hollow here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like the TI neutralization, um, where like this area is much more smooth and can start to kind of like hollow out versus like a candid person like me, where like I got like the little chipmunk cheeks, like these are bulging. Um,
Yeah, they stay youthful though. Like it keeps you young looking.
yeah, yeah, I have my own little theory about like gamma types having the most because they're grounded. They've got a lot of orbital tightness and they've got like all this just tension everywhere. And they tend to like that can cause more wrinkling if you're constantly activating your muscles, but like it keeps everything from drooping.
For sure. That's true.
Or you can just be like me and just be like PE perk ups all the time to keep everything just you know.
Well, PE is just a youthful energy. And I do
Hmm.
think that your emotions and your energy very much contribute to how young you vibe. It's not just about wrinkles and sagging, it's about your buoyancy too. Yeah.
Right, right. Having very like in physiognomy, having like big open eyes, like rounded eyes is symbolic of like being open to new ideas and stuff. And then like the smaller, squintier eyes, you can be more kind of like closed off and guarded. So,
Well, yeah, that's PE because PE usually has those wide open eyes as they're bouncing all their eyes all around. Yeah, that's
mhm.
something to that, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So people just stay young on the inside and don't worry.
Yeah.
Worry causes the wrinkles. Did you want to keep going with this one?
Well, we can't find it, so we'll just say, yeah, there's this part where he's like, the interviewer's trying to still bring it back to mental illness. He's like, so you like to do drugs, right? You like to party. Well, when I do drugs, it's usually to cope with whatever, or to, well, I can't remember exactly what it said, but yeah, basically to cope. And he's like, what about you? He's like, no, man, I just like to have a good time. And so he
Yeah.
just always like it's very positive. He's always like he keeps subverting or not subverting, but like reverting the topic back to the positive and avoiding that reactive negative space that this interviewer keeps pulling him back to.
Yeah, for sure. We'll just bounce around a little bit.
And they're 30, 40, they're taking me out with them. I'm living in Japan. I'm having the time of my life. But I forgot that I was just a kid, I think, and not making an excuse for if I've ever done anything wrong and forgetting this title that they like to give me when I was that age and all these things about me that I've never met a single person. I probably only ever encountered you and journalists I didn't know were journalists by sitting around at different places. But I was the youngest kid out there exposed to what was a very fast-paced lifestyle. And also not saying I didn't want to go and have a drink at that age. You know what I mean? I'm not denying that I wanted to go and have a drink and I wanted to have that cheers after set.
But you're
I
around.
didn't expect this. I wouldn't, I look to my left and let's say there's a lot worse going on with the other people that aren't getting these titles. But I'll take that title too. Another one that they can make up and give me. So, I think it speaks for itself where I'm at now, and I don't really care.
Do you remember what the title was, Ash?
The
That they
title
gave
for
him?
what?
He's talking about the title they gave him.
Not really. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's just kind of talking about being young and thrown into this world really young and but having the time of his life. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's basically the interview. It's just a lot of all the fun he's having and what a great life he has. Oh, and by the way, and then you want to go to the very end. He's like, "Oh yeah, let's talk about my mental illness." And oh, he mentioned somewhere in the beginning, of course, that he's been diagnosed with ADHD, which I think is very obvious, and that he also just has a lot of anxiety. But that was it.
okay. Well, we'll just I guess jump into the last few minutes here.
But I hope that there is someone watching this that this does help. I hope that there is people that know. I will say anyone that's watching this and going through those phases, it's a phase. Things are phases. It's not permanent. That's the one thing I've learned. Everything is not permanent.
And I think that's very seven. It's like you go through hard times, but then it's over and you just kind of put it behind you and move on. Like you don't make it your whole identity. Like I don't know if we got to this point, but in the beginning, his friend was like kind of classifying himself as having severe anxiety and severe CPTSD, like that's a part of his identity.
Right.
Versus like a seven who can go through things, but then they're like, whatever, man, that was a phase. It's not, I'm not gonna let it define me or hold me down.
Yeah, because they have that enneagram, or they call it the unconditional positive self-regard, and they're not going to incorporate these dark things into their identity and dwell on them. It's like life goes on. It was 5 minutes ago. Let's get back to partying, basically. Like the interviewer asks him to rate like how he's feeling this week, and he's like, I'm at like an 8, 8 out of 10. And he's like, okay. He's like, oh, but last week I was like about a 4. Yeah, it was a rough one. But yeah, now I'm at an 8. Like it was
Yeah.
just like this guy doesn't seem to be suffering much. So
Yeah, and I think that's like the seven strategy is like you don't want to get stuck. Like feeling stuck, whether it's with boredom or like a lack of opportunities, that's what they're trying to avoid. That's how they're, dealing with fear is just through like avoidance and then the busyness, like you said earlier. Like why would you stay home and feel depressed when you can, hike in Tibet or have these fantastic experiences like depression, and it's also like an assertive type. So it's going after what you want, and in a sense it's like rejecting things that might bog you down, rejecting vulnerability. Like I think in a certain way, the assertive types, 3, 7, and 8 are in their own way rejecting vulnerability in relation to like to the object, like whatever they're going after.
hmm for sure. Yeah, they're very much like I will get what I want, however I can get it. Yeah.
Right. And for
And
like a seven DJ, it's just fun times, man. It's just fun times, good vibes, getting
right,
naked
and
with
that's
Kate
yeah,
Moss.
like 9 also has that positivity thing too, but it's also very much like waiting for permission to be allowed to have their party time because of the attachment in the body space.
Hmm.
And the assertive is like, no, like uh I'm we're not going to talk about that anymore. Let's just, like it was 5 minutes ago. I'm bored. Let's go on with something else. Yeah.
Right. Right. And I also feel like, sorry, another like rabbit trail, but nine, even though it's a positive type, because it's such like almost like a boundaryless container, you can accumulate a lot and its attachment and it can become, I feel like nine as a baseline can be almost like a sea of melancholy. And
Mhm.
depending on your type structure, I think melancholy, um, and it's withdrawn too. It's and like you're taking in so much. There's like a huge psychic nine funnel over your head or your spirit or whatever. And so like there's a lot of processing and as a withdrawn type, you have to withdraw to like process through things. But like he's not really doing that. He's just going from thing to thing.
He could do that more, I think. It would help him. Yeah.
He
And
could do
he has this whole thing where I can't be alone. He says that somewhere in this interview, which doesn't sound super withdrawn. Like I think the withdrawn, uh, like if he were a withdrawn core, I think that would be his default. Like I can, uh, like finally I can be alone so I can do this inner processing, and that would be like much more desirable. But he's avoiding that
it.
completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel pretty good about what we came up with, which was are we done? Like, do we have more? Like, did we solve?
Oh, well, I think like this one was had a lot of really good rich material, but we don't have to go through it. But I think it showed more core assertive head type. Also like the people-y thing, like he needs his people around him, his loved ones, which his type would be like the most attachment heavy, also the most positive that a DJ can be, which I think checks out. And do you mind if we just go through this one and then
Not at all. Yeah. So like we still kind of have to figure out, yeah, where there was the sense of uh, there could be like a, I was thinking like, how do we know 9 is second and like 3 isn't second? Like how do we know 3 is last? There's a lot of 3 happening. So like we could review that, and also like whether or not like 2 has a stronger influence, which I don't think so, but let's keep going.
Sure, okay.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me, Carlos.
How's it being back in Australia? You've had such a whirlwind year.
I mean, the weather here is insane. I've been in London after New York, and it's great to be back here with Hugo Boss. We got the GQ Awards tonight. I asked you to
Yes,
come, by
so.
the way.
Yeah, look at
What's your
Well,
response to
you know
that?
the thing is I'm packing up the house.
So like he's super friendly and warm and engaging, but I thought his posture was really interesting. Like, and this is some SCTI stuff, like he's just splayed out, but I thought this could be points for like secondary 9 because he's just so like gutty and settled. So like 7 is already kind of getting more into the gut space, towards the gut space in the head center.
for
And if
sure.
you did have secondary 9 wing 1, it would kind of heighten that just relaxed, gutty, I'm just here, splayed out on the couch thing.
Right, yeah, because he does like have a chill, relaxed vibe. But at the same time, like I know the DJ Trifix is supposed to be like the most chill, you know, type of all the other Trifixes. So it's like, okay, yeah, but at the same time, like we have to like he seems, this is more obvious than probably that other video you looked at like a second ago. But yeah, he's very on the ball, and he's not tripping up on his words so much like I am. He's not like you know, like he can roll with it, and it's not, you know, maybe, you know, he doesn't have JI integrated, so that probably would uh like be part of it why I'm having such a hard time getting words out. But anyway,
Yeah,
I think he's
yeah.
just very assertive in his speech.
Yeah, that's a great point because like the 9-7 stem is like super like spacey and it's hard to nail down, and exactly when you add in JI you get really like stuttery and like glitchy.
Yeah.
So I definitely see what you're saying. We can watch a little more.
All right. I'm just not allowed out at the moment because it turns into a revelry that goes a couple of days. Anyway, I say nothing.
It's gonna imagine that with Jazz here, right?
That's it.
There we go.
You know her. Look, you've also done some significant things personally this year, which I really admire, and that is, you know, you're going through a lot of difficulties personally, and you've managed to, you know, kind of clean things up a bit, which is
Yeah, it's
great.
been great. I mean, it started after Fashion Week and having that intense month leading up to that. I had the best summer ever. I wouldn't say I was going
Best
through
summer
things
ever.
personally so much, but I wanted to make those.
I wasn't going through things.
Yeah, like everything is the best summer ever. I had the greatest time. I met the best people there. We had so much fun, like everything.
Yeah, it's very bright and friendly and warm and engaging. Um, Certainly, like I think the most personable DJ that you could see, and probably heightened by being Synflow, relatable, and like there's an element of SPSO kind of being down to earth and like connected to their roots in that archetypal way. I
Yeah,
know.
Bermuda, he'd be Bermuda adjacent with the triple super ego overlay, which would be like he has that underlying I need to be good very strongly. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like he's very down to earth. But also in a one of the clips from this long video, he said that he had a great childhood, like on the Australian coast, like growing up on the beach, ideal DJ scenario, but he always longed for more, right?
As
So
a surfer
like,
baby, yeah.
right, he wanted more, and then the whole modeling thing kind of falling into his lap enabled him to like the earth, like the world is his oyster kind of thing. And also like
Hmm.
he doesn't seem to take the beauty too seriously. It's almost like incidental, and the thing that's like opening up the all these exciting opportunities for him.
For sure, yeah. He's actually doesn't seem weirdly not very superficial at all, you know, like he's like that doesn't seem to be an interest even. So that's
Mhm.
why I'm like, I don't think he was in the lips maxing communities like everyone says, like because he just doesn't seem like he cares about that. He's like more about just connecting with people and just having the relationships. So
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't seem pretentious at
yeah,
all.
that's it.
Yeah,
Which
and maybe that's like the influence of the superego overlay, helping keeping him grounded. Like I can imagine him being snotty and like
yeah,
snotty
like
or
the tip,
pretentious.
like the 3-4 space is like supposed to be the fashion space where you get a lot of those really prickly models and really prickly fashion designers, and it's just a very snotty environment, and he's not like that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, he reminds me even a little bit of Chris Hemsworth, and I think it's not just the mager face and the accent and SETI, but just very like very warm and personable. Like he might come up and just like give you a friendly punch on the shoulder and a hug. I don't know. Australia is just churning out these chads.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Like they have a lot of like, yeah, like I can think of can't think of any off the top of my head, but a lot of really attractive people coming out of Australia.
Yeah, yeah, fair.
Changes before I turned 26. I turned 26 in 2 weeks. I always promised I would run that marathon last year. I made that bet with a bunch of friends of mine, which helped with the marathon this year. I got COVID the week before
Aye.
at the Fashion Week party last year.
Oh.
Friend's birthday, didn't catch it this year, managed to get through.
So like anecdotally, just a lot of SP stuff. Um,
SPSO, yeah.
yeah, SP anchors, like this happened in like sequential, a little bit of almost overlap with SI. I've noticed like SI and
Yes,
CT, like very, very detailed, and linear.
very much. Yeah. I think a lot
Personally,
of people I know who are SPSO think they're SI. Like they think they're usually like an INTP or something, or they're like, I have a little bit of SI in there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's definitely overlap.
the whole month of that, no COVID, and then got on that plane, made it to New York, met up with the fire department, ran the marathon.
What do you just wake up in the morning and run a marathon? I mean,
How many people do?
I've thought about that.
I mean, I'm 25. They did tell me you're 25, you're going to be able to do this. And I had the help of the fire department in New York and my trainer there, Rob. I was on FaceTime with him. Just moved to London, ran Hyde Park twice. That's 10 miles. The marathon's 24 miles or so.
Wow.
But we managed to raise, the goal was 15 grand. We got 15 grand like really quickly from people online, from clients, friends, and family.
And for a
And then
good
we
cause.
bumped it up to 30. Now we've got the 30K in for the Bowery mission
Three,
over
three,
there with
three.
the Great Australian running that for the home.
What was that?
Like that was very three. Like just like talking about his accomplishments, and we got and like we were aiming for this and we got to here. Yeah.
Yeah,
SP3 stuff.
yeah, and also super ego, like he's doing it to raise money, um,
For sure.
for a charity, and also kind of three-ish to point that out, right?
Mhm.
And I thought like the whole wedding thing, he married another male model like very spontaneously.
Yeah, I think this was the singer of the Strokes' brother. I forget his name, but yeah. And then they divorced like what, 2 years later, a year later.
Yeah, it didn't last long, and I think it was like a whirlwind thing, but like look at these two happy little 9-7 STEM fairy child.
That's so airy fairy, like the 9-7 stem airy fairy. Yep.
Right, like his eyes and just wonder and bewilderment and just good vibes, man. Like this is just I don't know, it's so funny to me. Like if there was like a DJ cult, I feel like this would be it. Like an
Yeah.
image.
This could be it. A
Yeah.
bunch of hippies on a commune, and he's like, I like to be barefoot. Yeah.
And like here's Kate Moss and it's like his life is just fun and warmth and sunshine and these magical experiences. But I guess if
Yeah.
you feel comfortable calling it, I feel like we could probably call it.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I was thinking earlier today yeah, we were kind of going back and forth between the 9 and the 7 core. I don't know, this is just like screaming 7 to me, these pictures right here. Whether or not like 2 could be in there if it's like a triple positive. I was thinking that today, but there's so much three, like all my accomplishments. So yeah, I feel pretty good about where we landed.
Okay. So we've got him as a 7-wing 6, 3-wing 2, 9-wing 1, SPSO. Just a fun hippie child.
Nine
Um,
second.
you think 9 second?
Is that what you think? I thought we thought that.
Oh, yeah. I thought we were just kind of leaving it open. We can go with 9 second. I'm cool with that too.
Oh, oh, okay. Because I thought that's what you were pointing out with the how he's like pretty gutty, like in his posture and that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean we could go on and on probably all day if we wanted to, but um yeah, there is a lot of three. So it could be 3 second.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of went off on a little
And
rabbit
if we
trail. Yeah. With the wedding, but like I felt like he was doing image management in that interview with how warm and personable he got. So like I'm like, okay, is this 9? Is this 3? But I think like what he is projecting from the Heart Center is that like very 3-wing 2, and like in certain interviews he's like actually touching people and we're so like okay, so secondary withdrawn, I guess probably wouldn't make sense for him now that I think about it.
and also like well, the reason I would yeah, he's also like so scattered and so flighty and so all over the place, which is usually a body last motif. Like
Mm.
they are just not like body is very grounded and steady and down to earth, and he kind of seems like he could use more of that, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So you want to go with secondary 3-wing 2 then?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it because I was comparing him to Bella Hadid. They did some videos together, and she's a 7'3", so she's 3 secondary, and I think she's also a DJ. I don't remember. So she has, sorry, she's a 9'3". Sorry, she's 9'3" 7", I think. I could be wrong about the last fix, but she's a good example of the 9'3" mannequin. Like that stem is very much like a mannequin, and she doesn't really. There's not like you watch her videos. There's really a lot that you could project onto her. She's not super uh like she's not like Jordan where she is throwing her opinions out very strong. So like right away she stands out to me as having that 9'3" space like up front. So I don't get that from Jordan, but 7'3". I don't really like what's the 7'3" stem? It's um
Well, it
I
would
don't even
be
know how to describe the 7'3" stem.
yeah, I mean it's double assertive. And it would be secondary competency. Um, and also I think if he's definitely 9-wing 1 in gut, but if that's last, that need to withdraw, like that withdrawn portion of his type being last, that makes sense to
Yeah,
me. Because he is just so go, go,
cool.
go.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
It's
So,
especially apparent, I think, like there's another interview, the podcast that was very strong in 3. I was having a hard time finding 9 in there at all, actually.
hmm, yeah,
So
he was definitely more focused there. And he would be like the nicest version of double assertive up front with like the softening from the 6 and the 2. Um, so I feel comfortable with that. So we can call it as 7-wing 6, 3-wing 2, 9-wing 1, SPSO. And thank you so much for joining me, Ash. This was super fun, and I hope we can come back and do some more.
you're welcome.
All
Sure,
right.
that'd be fun.
Okay. All right. Bye, guys.